Hello, everyone. Hey, so this will be an interesting show this week. Right now, so far, we have Blarg, Neo, and Jeebus. They're about to get on. Um, Initially, this stream was going to be about this other guy. I can't remember his name, Dark something, who was in his. He has some videos that said that humans and dinosaurs lived at the same time. So I was going to do kind of a reaction thing. We can do that next week. For this week, we had a couple people who were interested in joining us. I'm not sure if they will show up. They said they will. One is, let me see. One is this guy named Lawson Harrison. He and I were talking about gender and sex, and I had contended that those are distinct. But what he said was that nope, they're the same. There's no difference between gender and sex for him. So, um, so when I tried to let him know that obviously those things are different and showed examples of why that's the case, he said, well, I'm having a hard time explaining myself. And that's when I invited him to come on to my stream. So I'm not sure if he will show up. And then the other person is this guy named Jem Gayon, or actually the name on his channel is like Wise something. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, Words from the Wise. Oh, let me show you. Okay. So Words from the Wise. And he has I guess, relatively larger channel since mine is so small, but he has 2,500 subscribers. But it's all around, like showing these music videos. Not music videos, but music. And I can kind of see why, that might have, some people might be interested in that. But this guy was when I asked him to get on the live stream, he called me a coward because he thought a live stream meant the live chat. And so eventually I got him corrected on that. But then what he said that, well, he will get on. He will kind of do us a favor, I guess, to get on. But it would be, let me see if I can share this. But he has some conditions. So he'll be more than happy to have a chat, providing I set it up like a normal, quote unquote, normal live stream where the participants can see each other and know each other's real names. The ball is in your court, my friend. Will you be like a man and speak with me face to face, or will you just hide behind your avatar forever? And so that's why I changed the title of this stream from before, when I think it was about in regard to whether dinosaurs and humans live together, but I changed it now to, what is it now? Too many windows. Anyone remember what the title is? Oh, it's a commenter says normal live streams have people showing their faces if they are a man. So this, oops. And of course, I am a man, gender man. So I took a bit of offense to that was necessary. I don't think it's necessary to do that. But he did agree to show up. So we shall see if he does. So that's the intro for this. I'm actually not sure he's going to show up. So we have Jeebus, Blarg, and Neo here. And Neo, he specifically called you out, right? He wanted you to get on and talk to him about your theist position, right?
Yep. That should be interesting. Be quite short, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it seems like he was kind of, I'm not sure exactly why, but kind of targeting you. Like even on the discussion with about, let me put this back on. Uh, Even on this discussion, like here, uh, where he says, it'll be delayed. He's saying that his subscribers, 2,500 subscribers, would be delighted to tune in on this discussion between an atheist and a theist, or two theists if Neal shows up. I'm not sure if that's the case. I'm not sure his subscribers would be really interested in this.
It's probably related to my chats, shall we say, with Justine, assuming that is a separate account. Where I had to point out several times that I'm not an atheist. But then I do that with all the other theists that I argue with. At some point, I will get accused of being an atheist simply because I'm arguing with them.
Right. Although, you don't really discuss your theism very much, right? You don't really comment too much on it, except to say that you are a theist.
Well, it doesn't come up. It's like, when we're talking things that we definitely know, it's like, well, if it was definitely known, then I'd present an argument and then everyone would agree with me. So it, usually because it's science that I'm arguing, what it is that I believe in doesn't crop up because that doesn't necessarily relate to science. It's a
Right.
weird one.
I mean, it
I
actually
think
kind
very
of
few people
highlights
have
the.
actually been interested in what it is. I get one or two who ask me questions, then I answer them, and then they never ask me ever again.
Well, I mean, it kind of goes to show that discussions about science really doesn't have anything to do with atheism or theism, right?
Exactly.
The Christian creationists are the ones that a lot of times are kind of doing this anti-science thing. But even if, and I posted this multiple times, even if all those sciences are disproved, it doesn't make their God any more real.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, Ook, I just noticed you were there, so I added you on.
No, sweet as, mate. No worries. I was getting files open and everything if someone wanted to check what people have said.
Well, so I know that this guy, Wise, or I don't know how he wants to be called, but he and Justine had actually interacted, I think, quite some time back, right? Months and months back.
Not so much months. I'd say about the last time they commented on each other's thing was about a week and a half ago.
No, I think they did talk to each other earlier.
Oh,
When
yeah,
was
way
this?
back when they
Yeah.
certainly did.
Yeah, that was like, it's back in 2023.
Yeah.
August. So I think at the time people were thinking whether he and Justine are the same just because the way they interacted. But I personally don't think they're the same.
I think they're both deluded. Apple didn't fall far from the tree, but that's about it.
But the other thing he had mentioned was that apparently he does have a daughter named Justine. And so that's where I guess he was drawn to what she was saying, not just because of the kookiness, but because of the name, I guess.
Hang on, I'll check the file. Back in a bit.
Yep. I have to ask Gook how he does some of that. I can get histories of my comments, but I can't get histories of other people.
I was going to say it's getting very, very difficult to keep track of all these people.
Yeah.
Yes. Back, he does actually state that Justine, aka user blah blah blah, is his daughter.
Oh, is he saying that he has the same name as his daughter, or they are? It is his daughter?
It is Justine Smith is his daughter.
Okay.
So yeah. And yes.
Okay.
And yeah, that was, I got that little snippet I think about 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay. I must have missed it.
Real
Or
life has been interfering and I haven't been online or
yeah.
as much. How I keep record, I just copy and paste into Word.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's the easiest way to, and for particularly nasty things, I screenshot. Especially when Carl Hobson kicks around.
Oh my, yeah, it's another one. I thought maybe you had some kind of application that kind of crawls all the comments and just pulls it down.
Be nice if there was something like that, little macro program. But no, I don't keep. I jokingly say I'm the librarian because I keep records, and without those records, I wouldn't know who the trolls were because there's, as people have said, you can't keep it straight in your head. I mean, what's that Joey Transeater? What is it? He's up to 16 profiles now since the 3rd of last month.
Wait, is Joey the Rachel Levine guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Since the 3rd of April, he has made 16 profiles that I found, and one of Neal, the fake one of Neal.
Well, I mean, the only way I know is him is because because of his obsession with Rachel Levine. So anytime someone mentions,
can someone in America tell me what is all that about?
So I mean, she is
apart from a general who's trans.
Yeah, so I think she was like one of the first trans person to be at that level within the government. So she's been kind of a target of all the anti-trans sentiment, and like the name that he uses right now, Sir Richard Levine, is, I think, is basically dead naming Rachel. So and he definitely makes a lot of anti-trans comments.
Yes, well, 16 profiles. Oh, and that cloning thing he did with Neal.
Yeah.
Makes me, I don't know about Blarg, but I think he's Kevin 11 minutes underwater or something. The caller who was Kevin.
Yeah,
yes,
I
who was
gone looking specifically. But if it is, it's worth noting that 10 minutes under water Kevin is actually he's a bit of a sad story actually, because I worked out who he is, and where he's from, and the guy basically lives in or grew up in a little trailer park town by the side of a interstate, and yes, so he's Catholic, but also seriously devoutly Catholic, but gay.
Opus Dei? No, you can't be Opus Dei if you're gay.
Well, he took a solemn vow of chastity about 20 years ago, and that's on his Facebook page. him taking this solemn vow, and yeah, poor bastard's not doing well.
20 years without a wank. No, look at that.
Yeah, the DSB is really building up pressure.
Wow.
Oh, who's Blade of Moses? Chris or no Chris? Chris Maisie or not Chris Maisie?
Yeah, pretty certainly Chris.
It's blatantly Quecee.
Yeah, but I didn't think Chris worked because that Blade of Moses keeps saying he can't talk to his work colleagues, and Chris, according to Chris, he, I think 3 years ago, is now homeless because he gave all his money away in his house and is living off the land in Hawaii. I don't know. Who can keep track of all these insane trolls?
Wait,
Sorry.
so are
You know, they genuinely lie. So
yeah.
I think that's
Isn't
the
that
only thing that seems to be a common theme, is that they will lie.
But is that the same as the Try Me guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Try Me. What's he running now? Hang on.
Well,
they
what's kind of
had
weird
settled
is
down
like,
into their 2 accounts, and now they've settled down into 3.
okay,
Yes.
yeah, because like it's all 3 are kind of being used regularly, and it seems like most of the other alts would just kind of jump from one to the other.
I think he's Throne of David also.
Yeah,
Right.
he's Throne of David, 1st century, formerly Rabbi God, aka Apostle Paul, King Solomon's son, King Justice, descendant of Judah, son of Joshua, and dozens of others.
Voice
They're
of
all,
Christ.
you'll notice, theologically egotistical names. They're all, you know, they're all, I'm a big man, except for Try Me. They're all, you know, name dropping someone big in the Bible.
But Chris, I got really offended about 2 years ago by what he was posting, and now I've just decided, no, I'm just going to remind everyone that you're a flat earther. And some of the more ridiculous things he says, like radio waves were only existed when radios were invented. So yeah, I just like pulling him apart on that.
Have you guys all seen the poll I put up? There's actually 9 votes, not huge, but I'm just surprised that Rick Lambert got nothing. No one's voting for him, and WWLib isn't getting anything. And this is for the stupidest troll. So I mean, I guess WWLib is probably at the bottom of that list. That makes sense.
It may well just be that we've just given up paying any attention to Rick, and just everyone just immediately reports him for whether it's spam or hate speech or promoting terrorism or whatever it is that he happens to be doing, and then just moves on.
Well, I think what's good is no one responds to him for the most part, so it kind of stays empty, his comments.
I just read enough of Rick's stuff to work out what I should report it for, and it's either spam or hate. So that's simple.
Yeah, and occasionally it does push a bit further into that next category.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, I do exactly the same.
I'll mute myself. I'm having a smoke.
All right. So WWLib, I think like she's, I can't remember on which one she's been active on, where I think people were asking about, what she thought about homosexuality. And it was, I think Sunday was the one, looks like Sunday isn't here, but Sunday was the one who was kind of pushing her position a little bit in regard to what she really thought about gays. And I think last I saw, if I remember, she was saying that basically it's the act, right? God loves the sinner but hates the act, so she still thinks the act itself is an abomination. You see, see if I can pull it up. I'm not quite sure where it is though.
Yeah, she often words things so that anything that she said, that basically points out how much she hates people, suddenly gets turned around into, oh, it's backed up by the Bible. If I cherry pick it enough, it's backed up by the Bible.
What was
Okay.
No, you go, Q.
Yeah, I was just gonna say all her stuff, and I found a thing, but all her stuff is basically just the John 3:16, right? Just kind of spamming the John 3:16 here.
The smallest Bible in the world, John 3:16.
Yeah, that's my running contention, that she only has a Bible containing a single page, and really should invest in actually a complete Bible.
Okay, so this is where
you should pick up the Coptic one. It's bigger than everyone else's.
Right. So God doesn't say being gay is wrong, but the act of homosexuality is abominable in his eyes.
Well, he doesn't have to watch, does he?
I was thinking of kind of creating a video on that as well, because it just seems ludicrous to me that, basically God created you that way, or created a gay person that way, right? That's part of their nature. And because that person acts within the nature, it's an abomination. It's kind of like having a dog, let's say a 14-month puppy, and because it's peeing on the floor, you go and shoot him, which is what I'm referring to Kristi Noem. I can't remember which. Is it Arizona governor or whatever? So, for those of you guys non-US people, so she was slated to be.
We're all aware of that one. That's hilarious.
Okay.
Talk about an own goal. Wow.
Yeah.
I just point people like that to Tim Mitchell's song, "The Good Book." That's a
and the funny thing is, like, on the GOP side, they've essentially kind of continued to let kind of continue to accept people who do horrible things, whether it's racism or whatnot. But I guess they draw the line at puppy killing. That's at least for now. Who knows? What'll happen? Once if Trump kills a dog or something. But for now, that's the line that they're drawing.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing. Kiss babies and say and have a puppy, and make yourself electable. And you go, oh, the alternative is, let's get angry at my dog and go and shoot it in a thing, and then go, well, look, it's not the only thing I've shot in that pit. I also shot my goat. It didn't work, so I had to go and get another bullet and then come back and shoot it a second time. And you just go, that happens. And then I went and shot some of my horses.
Oh wait, I didn't hear about
just go, stop talking.
For the goat. So she actually did come back with the second bullet?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yes, and she was asked about, oh, you saw you go over the hill, and then you came back without the dog, and I saw you go, and you didn't come. We came back without the goat, and you just go, oh, how do they think that makes them seem tough?
It's just kind of funny that your defense against you killing a puppy is that, hey, I killed a goat and 3 horses.
Yeah.
Where are her
It's what I
handlers?
do.
Sorry, who was that talking?
Yeah, all I said was, that defense for killing a puppy is that I also go and kill lots of other things. It's just me. That's what I do. And you just go, how do people think that's going to resonate? Yeah, they're like, there is barely anything else you can imagine that a person could say that would go down worse.
Well, I guess this was something, or this type of content was something that she was going to include in her first book, but her editors knew enough to, advise her against it. But I guess for this book, the editors really didn't care, or maybe they thought it to sell books.
I know, but you can guarantee her political future is looking a little shadier than it did before she went along and put that out there.
Yeah. Well, and you know that she was the front runner for the VP position just because of her looks. I mean, that's the GOP, right? That look. It's the Fox News look.
Yeah,
Well,
as far as I can tell.
That is how Trump works. You only have two types of people around him. You've got ugly guys. They can be anyone of any age and whatever. And all the women have to be long hair, good looking, tall and slim. Their capability is not that important. And in fact, I suspect he prefers that they're not that good because they'd make him look a bit, he doesn't want to be shown up.
Yeah, I wonder, just your point about the ugly guys. I wonder if Trump is doing that because, he doesn't want to be, overshadowed by a younger, better looking guy.
Yeah, of course. He doesn't want anyone taller than him.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder how he tolerates his son. I suppose he doesn't see him very often, Barron, because Barron is ludicrously tall.
Yeah.
And looks like his mother. So, and you just go, he's taller and will definitely be better looking than his ancient old man ever was. So, actually, it'd be really interesting to see if he does show up to Barron's graduation. Because after the big hissy fit he made about not being allowed to go when no one said he couldn't, and then as soon as they said you can, he booked a simultaneous fundraiser a couple of states away.
Oh, they are quick for the fundraisers, aren't they?
Going back to the topic of like people having to put their real faces on camera, I mean, apart from people not liking their end and no, can't say that one without my teeth in, people wanting to be anonymous, it can have real world effects. If you go to, say, Saudi Arabia, you better click some sort of religion, because otherwise they won't let you in.
If you live there, you will get death penalty.
Well, and it talks to how, at least in the US, it can be a disadvantage for you to be identified as an atheist person.
Well, you can have your car set on fire, shot. I was talking to some people a couple of years ago where they are. Their car has been demolished at least 3 times. They've come home with bullet holes in their car, but they don't know what happened, just because they had an atheist sticker on the back. So there is real world consequences.
Yeah, and I think it'll probably be worse in the US than in Australia.
Oh yeah, here no one gives a fuck. I mean, I always like to say that, we've had at least 5 openly atheistic prime ministers. You're flat out getting any, a town councillor who's not who can't admit that in America.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able
death.
to. It's actually, I think, worse than being a communist. You could be a communist and still get in office, but I think it'll be really hard as an atheist.
Which is funny to me.
I mean, over here, you still don't get very many openly atheist councillors.
No, they've all joined
It's just that no one
Church
talks
of England.
about their religion except when they're speaking to religious voters.
Neil, do you remember the Yes Prime Minister show?
Oh yes, no.
Where they were trying to find
one of my favourites.
Trying to find the new Arch-Chancellor of Canterbury, Archbishop, sorry. And Sir Humphrey goes, "Oh no, not him." And Jim goes, "Why? He actually believes in God."
Yeah.
You can't, no. Church of England is summed up by a cup of tea and a biscuit.
Yep, we made it into our established religion, and now they're mostly politicians as opposed to active believers.
Yeah, being an atheist in the Church of England is actually seen as a positive thing.
Yeah.
But at least they got gay priests and married priests, women priests. So, yeah, fair enough.
Well, I mentioned down in the comments there's a Anglican guy I know who was connected to Suffolk Cathedral. He was quite openly gay. He's just become a Catholic monk. That was an interesting conversation.
A monk?
Yeah. He's been struggling so much with it. He just decided, I'll go the full hog, go completely celibate, and then it's not an issue. But okay, you do you. Don't really care, but you do you.
And yeah, I don't understand that. But I've noticed quite a few people. I'm going to be celibate because I don't want to be gay. You're still gay.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me of a comment. I can't remember which of the trolls was, but maybe it is the Richard Levine. But I think he was saying that the hell was full of former, atheists, and he talks, he lists all these others like former, murderers and former homosexuals and all that. And it's like, if you kill someone, how do you become a former, right? You've already killed someone.
Yeah.
And how do you become a former gay? I guess, if before you die, God like converts you, to a homosexual or to a heterosexual, then I guess you could say you're a former homosexual, but it seems kind of strange.
Most theologies that I come across for what happens in in heaven, apart from the blandest people who don't give it any thought at all, have that no one cares about any of that stuff anyway. You're only up there to bask in the glory and spend your eternity. We are not worthy, etc. So
I'm
yeah, it doesn't
reminded.
matter.
I'm reminded of Good Omens, where they're having a chat about music in heaven and hell, and they're talking about how in heaven it only seems to be like the sound of music is is the allowable music. All the best composers are in hell.
So it looks like it
Yeah.
was from Diva. He's the one who was saying that.
Diva, that's Jaffles, isn't it?
Yep. Or not Jaffles. Isn't Jaffles
No.
someone else? Then it's Jeffrey.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Jeffrey Gilbert, the guy who posts the
Yep.
the text that is narrow, like it's
Oh,
the weirdly formatted text.
are they not
That
the same
guy.
person?
It's the same account. He just renamed it from Jeffrey to Diva.
I mean, which is the right thing to do because he basically had his full real name, and it didn't take too much for me to find out who he was. So
I mean, I'd feel very uncomfortable with using my real name and face on any social media platform because there's too many crazies out there.
yeah.
It's you got your own protection. Too many stories.
There's
Yeah,
also that issue. There's also that issue about you apply for a job and the boss goes and searches social media for your profiles and goes, there's a person. You know, if you're applying for a job and your boss is a strict evangelical or something, and discovers that you're a loud and proud atheist, that can't have come up in the conversation, but he can definitely not give you your job that you well and truly deserve as a result of discovering this fact.
I mean, in real life, I got no I don't say anything to anyone you couldn't say to their face, and I'm like that in real life. But just say if I wanted to become a JP, I could get knocked back by some of the stuff that I've said on YouTube. Maybe, I don't know. So there are real life ramifications.
My I get vetted fairly often, and they look at all your stuff. They look at they looked at my YouTube and everything, and they're like going, "Yeah, you're okay." I was like, "Okay," because I was slightly worried about it. I specifically asked about what it is, and they just said, "Well, your what little there is of Facebook that I use was okay. That didn't bring the company into disrepute, and my YouTube presence is quiet enough, and I don't go mad on YouTube, so I mean, been fairly safe from that. But yeah,
Well,
no,
so are you not including YouTube comments?
They do. I mean, there's stuff they couldn't tell me because they're not allowed to tell me. But there's various programs that basically will like scan all your comments. They'll clip your username and they'll use that to just scan through like a overview of your presence on YouTube.
Right.
There's lots of legal things that they can do as well. So
By the way, Side Boob asked in the comments whether to Ook, isn't that your face on your avatar? So Ook, where does that come from? Ook Geek the librarian, resurrected.
That one, hang on. That came from my favourite character out of Terry Pratchett, the librarian. He was basically an orangutan who was magically transformed. He was a man, got turned into an orangutan, and the only two words that people can understand from him are ook and eat. And resurrected just came from because, like Barg, I had one of my profiles just nothing showed up. I could post and post, it wouldn't show up. I talked to YouTube, they couldn't work it out. So I just got my premium membership changed over to the resurrected thing. And the avatar I use is Father Jack Hackett from Father Ted, basically because he reminds me of so many of the old retired priests who used to live in the chapel houses of the schools I went to. Drink, smoke, and chase barmaids, basically.
Yeah, I was always curious about that, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I do reference Terry Pratchett a lot. And and I've been called an orangutan that's been strategically shaved a number of times, so sort of fits. Who? Right. There was one. The mystery of why.
Oh yeah.
What the hell is? Can someone explain what he's going on about? Because I'm completely lost. If you've run into him,
I've had some.
It's basically
with
how woke is Satanism. That's basically it.
Right. Yeah, because it keeps going on. Woke this, woke that. Atheist woke agenda. Do all these trolls go to the same meeting place? Is there like a clubhouse for them? Because they all have the same crap.
Fully charged battery, fully charged.
Is that Kristen?
It's Right Wing Echo Chamber University, I think, is the name of the place they all attend.
Let's see how show some comments from the mystery of why. So this was one where this was like a long screed. So this is a common. To understand God, Satan, heaven, and hell, first you have to understand all forms of abuse and its traumatic effects on. Oh wait, he's the one who also talks about how this is affecting the evolution of mankind, I think. I think somewhere he says that.
No, you're right. He has mentioned that before. The evolution.
Yeah. And I have no idea how that happens. Oh, and this was the one where he mentioned that homosexuality is one of the selfish satanic behavior that hinders evolution and thus our species. I'm not sure how that
anything
happens,
that isn't right-wing Christian is satanic to them. So
yeah.
But they claim not to be Christian.
Yes, that's exactly the point. He claims not to be Christian, but just pretty well entirely fills his commentary with Christian talking points. But But this is the important thing. He knows better than 3 billion Christians what the truth is.
Yeah.
Because I always love that. Jaffles is exactly as bad. Jaffles, who's never owned a Bible and never read one, knows the Bible better than and what it means better than the next 3 billion Christians.
I might try and find my first ever encounter with Jaffles, where I think we got to 300 posts on the thread of myself trying to work out what his beliefs were. I'll try and find that, because he admits doesn't own a Bible. His wife does, and it was the Good News for Modern Man. You know, the one with the stick figure cartoons in it, and it's just insane. And the fact that you can answer him with, say, or one of his big long posts and go Pavlova, and it's almost like he just will post again the same garbage. I mean, name any cheese or anything. I've been hitting him with Welsh words the last few times. I've gone back to Australian animals now.
Yeah, I
I
was
think I'm
running
on Greek cheeses now.
German sausages for a while.
Oh, that
We all gotta have a
paired
hobby,
really
I
well
suppose.
with my German cheeses. That was brilliant. That was.
But also invented the fun one, Derpwurst.
Yes.
We all need a little Derpwurst in our life.
So the other new one, maybe they won't last too long, is this Ola person. And
Yes, they've only been around for a couple of days. I haven't even got a file started on them.
But they're just very aggressive, I guess.
I can't say I've come across them yet.
Yeah, so this is the one where this person mentioned that, so this is talking about how atheism is like a religion. A lot of these guys say that. And this person saying that, well, it means that atheists are hypocrites. And their, I guess, evidence is that TST, which stands for the Satanic Temple, they openly admit that they're religious on their official website. So that
right.
apparently is
Thank
evidence.
you. I didn't know what that meant. TST.
Yeah. And I didn't know that's that abbreviation was used for the atheist temple. I mean, I had heard of the Satanic Temple. I had heard of them, but I didn't know that they actually say that they are religious on their website. And I actually couldn't find that. What they did, and maybe this is what they're talking about. So they petitioned to be recognized in Texas as a religious organization. But in order to address the kind of the restriction that the state of Texas has put on abortion, so they're basically using religious freedom to say, hey, we should be able to allow abortions as a part of our religious right. So it's just they're doing it obviously kind of like a trolling, right? Everyone knows that they're not religious. They specifically say that they're not theistic. But because of this person is saying that, hey, atheists are religious because TST, says that they're religious.
Well, I think I read somewhere for tax purposes and something about equal rights or whatever in America, that atheism is viewed in the same regard as religions.
Right. And that was a comment that I was making. Shoot, I lost the thing. That was a comment I was making in terms of why some of why that they're doing it. So, I mentioned that they're using this, first of all, to point out how religious groups are abusing the system, specifically things like, tax exemption, and that they're obviously mocking religion. So this person responds and says that, this is a mental gymnastics that I'm performing just to say that atheism isn't religion. But it's part of the kind of the religion, at least within the US, confers a lot of benefits, things like the tax exemption and things like, and actually I think I list this when this person was, kind of doubting what I was saying. So because of once you get religious, benefits, these organizations can basically now, put the 10 Commandments in the government building, prayers in school, religious exemption for healthcare, public funding for religious schools, a cross on public land, allowing businesses to not serve gays for religious reasons. So you can kind of pull out the religious card for a lot of things to kind of bypass some of the requirements that there might be, things like discrimination requirements.
Is this the group that Aaron Ra is associated
Yeah.
with?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
going to mention that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if he still is, but he was.
They have had some pretty good successes actually. I watch a bit of The Friendly Atheist, who does a sort of a deep dive into some of these stories occasionally. And there was a story about an after-school Bible club and a after-school satanic club. So they wanted to start an after-school satanic club at this school that already has this Bible school thing happening after school as well. It's a public school. I can't remember the states, probably Kentucky. Initially they okayed it because of course they had to. And then there was this massive hissy fit about it, and it went went to the courts, and the courts affirmed that if they're going first of all, they went and changed all the rules about how you could do it, about how you had to answer things correctly in the correct font, or otherwise we're not going to accept it, even though the other one hadn't done any of that either. So unsurprisingly, they won their court case. And as a result, the school, rather than allow the after-school Satan Club to exist, ended all after-school curricular activity, and got rid of the Bible Club as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it was in Ohio.
Okay.
But
I think I saw
mean,
quite a few. It must have been The Friendly Atheist I watched then, where he had clips from the court case.
I caught him, saw him on Jeopardy at one stage. Wow. I turned on Jeopardy one day, and an old sort of an episode, and there's Hemet Mehta, and you go, "Hey, I know who that dude is." And he went on to win that episode, and lost in the next in his return. So
it's because he didn't pray hard enough to Satan. That's why he lost.
Yeah,
I can answer that question from Bob
Syboob.
or Boob. Yes, they are, as long as they all you have to pay into a thing called the Australian National Redress Scheme, which is to combat sexual abuse by religious or organisations. And there are quite a few little religious groups that have decided, no, I don't want to join. So the tax office removes their tax exempt, which I think is a good thing.
and for those
Seventh-day Adventists were finally, they were the hardest ones to convince. But yeah, so that's that one. Australian National Redress Scheme. I'll post it. I'll see if I can find it. Anyway, I'll do it on the next video on AXP. I'll post a better description of it.
On
here in the UK, you have to register as charities, no matter what organisation you are, and the tax people have a look, and you can get your charitable status taken away if you're not actually being a charity.
They have to open their books for audit in the UK. Is that it? Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
The problem
so basically, the churches are counted as registered charities because, but it means they have to take out charitable status, so charitable activities, and that's the only bit that basically gets them the tax discount, as it were. But all their other activities are still, they still can be taxed on. So if you're running a business as a church, you're running it under the same standards as any other business.
Yeah, I wish that they would do that in the U.S. In the U.S., you don't have to, and also, but there is supposedly a restriction on churches who get tax exemption, which is that they aren't supposed to advocate or promote any politicians, either parties. However, that doesn't hold because there are a lot of churches that do, specifically advocate specific politicians, mostly on the right, but I'm sure there's on the left as well. But because there isn't enough of a political will to stop that, the IRS isn't going after them. At least not churches. But that the AXP, right, wanted, they are a nonprofit, and they would lose their nonprofit status if they kind of mention political stuff, and that's where they avoid that quite a bit. By the way, so Lawson it seems like he's here. So Lawson, if you want to join us, I've just put the link. You're actually quite late. You're about an hour late. So maybe there's like a time zone issue that you got mixed up on. Although you said you're in the central time zone. But anyway, I put the link for StreamYard. Use that to connect in, and then we can add you to the stage. We have about 30 minutes left in this stream.
While he's doing that, I thought I'd just mention the origin of that redress scheme that's in Australia. Some years ago, we had what was called the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to, we'll call it underage fun and games, to avoid putting the words in there. Anyhow, yeah, the result so it wasn't just looking at religious; they also looked at non-religious organisations or quasi-religious organisations like the Scouts, for example. But of course, unsurprisingly, the religious organisations got the lion's share of the investigation, and it was extensive. It was absolutely enormous. But what they found out of it is, for example, the calculations showed that approximately 7% of Catholic priests had engaged in underage activity, not just were attracted to, but had engaged in it. And in some of the groups, like the brothers, I think it rose over 25% of the group and these were ones that they just had direct evidence of. There'd be plenty of people who didn't come and do that, but yeah, there was quite a lot of fallout from all of that, and the redress scheme was one of the components of it, whereby people who were harmed by these organisations get some sort of compensation for their suffering.
That's also, anyone's ever heard of Cardinal Pell. He was the Australian cardinal who was found by that same commission, which ended in 2017, to have known about child sex.
Very,
abuse.
very extensive activity by at least one of his friends. By the guy was actually his flatmate at one stage.
Yeah, and I think he did, going back.
That's Rizdale,
his entire
I think.
career, I think over 40 years. That's what I always like to hit Bob Garnett with, because he got very upset that Cardinal Pell ended up in jail and then got let out by an Opus Dei lover. I'm muting myself now. I'm going to cough.
So the guy hasn't managed to jump on or find the link.
I'm
Quecee?
not sure if found the link. He's not on yet. His response to me mentioning he's our latest. I was having a chat with you in the comments the other day. I have about 30 minutes. Perfect. We only have 30 minutes. Lawson, I don't know if you saw the link. If you did, please connect in, or you can confirm whether you have seen it. But once you get on, I'll add you to the stage. And in the meanwhile, I'll go back to the discussions that he and I were having, and we can just do we did that earlier, but so his first comment was, I have stopped caring about gender outside of polite conversation since it seems like a personal thing. Since sex is the only thing that matters to me, I just use male, female. I'm not sure how you can use male or female. Oh, here on. Hello, Lawson.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh, perfect. I was actually one thing back in the labs, and I thought I was in, and I was just waiting for him to finish talking about the Catholic stuff. But
okay, that's fine. So, on the stage besides myself, we have Neal, Jeebus, Ook, and Blarg. You may have seen them in the comments. Although I guess you are coming from the comments from my channel. Most of these guys are really, or as well as myself, are active on the channel on the atheist experience.
okay.
Do you go? Are you familiar with that channel, or do you go on it?
So I actually grew up on the atheist experience. I was watching it when it was a TV show. A long-time viewer, made quite a bit of donations to in the past, but I've kind of not been watching it the last few years or keeping up with it for a lot of reasons that we don't have to get into. But
Okay.
But yeah.
So you aren't on the comment section of
No,
those videos.
I don't
Okay.
keep up with the community and stuff really.
Okay.
I do like the street epistemology. I like Anthony Magdabosco quite a bit.
Okay. So for this channel is primarily discussing things that happen or in the comment section within the atheist experience. I do also in general, I want to post videos that debunk fallacious arguments on multiple different channels, but it's been mostly on the atheist experience. And then we have this regular live stream on every Saturdays at this time. Although sometimes we could, we might do it at 7:00. And you said you're in the Central Time Zone, right?
North Dakota is where I live.
Oh, North Dakota is still Central. Okay. I'm on the Illinois side, and Ook and Blarg as well. You're in Australia, right?
Yep, Ook and myself.
Yep.
And Neal is UK, and Jeebus is in the West Coast. Okay, so the reason why I had invited you on was we were in the last video that I had put up. We were talking about the question of whether atheists should be talking about trans issues and pronouns, etc. And you had posted a comment that you basically, for you, you like you said, you stopped caring about gender and you only use the male and female. And my pushback was, you obviously have to use gender pronouns, even though they are distinct. All you really have access to is the gender. You don't have the access to the biological sex. So just to kind of get to the end, you were trying to describe. Oh, actually, I went past.
I think I failed miserably too. It's hard in it's hard in chat sometimes, but
yeah. So I couldn't quite figure out what you were saying, and so that's when I invited you to come and express your views. So that's the backup, or sorry, the background for everyone. So how would you express yourself here in terms of what you mean by when you say you only care about the sex and not the gender?
Sure. So this might actually turn out to not be very contentious at all, and I may have wasted your time, which I apologize. But basically, the only time I really care about a person's biology is if I'm maybe looking for a partner, someone to date, have a family with, or something like that, or in like a medical situation where I'm not a doctor, so that doesn't really even matter to me. But basically, outside of polite conversation is the only time it matters, right? Because I don't believe in misgendering people and being rude and hurting people's feelings. So, but that doesn't really affect my life. It's very easy to just be polite to people, right? I think everyone should try and do that. But
so then I think it's kind of a little misunderstanding here, but you are essentially saying that you really only use gender and you don't care about the sex, because except in that case that you had mentioned, if you were looking, to raise a family, that's the only time you care about sex.
Yeah. And I think it would be better if more people saw it that way. I understand there's certain like conservative parents that maybe it affects a little more with children and stuff like that. It gets more contentious, but I don't have any kids, so I don't really stake a strong opinion on that. But
yeah, and I think where potential contention came up was, prior to you entering, there were kind of people commenting where, they were essentially saying that sex and gender are equal, right? So, so there aren't any distinctions between the two, and it sounded like that's what you're saying, but I think you pretty much agree with what we are saying, right? That you only have access to gender.
Yes, sure, yeah. Which I would say you could probably say sex and gender were the same, maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago or some amount of time ago. I think they were seen the same, but today that's definitely not the case, I don't think. Or at least
were you going to say something?
Just a quick question, because it sounded like from your comment that you might have had the meaning of sex and the meaning of gender kind of swapped around, or you could just wrote down the wrong way, for example. But the usual way it's sort of remembered is that sex is what's in your pants and gender is what's in your head.
Yep.
That the way it was written, it sounded like you were you only cared about the sex part, which is the physical junk, as opposed to the mental component of it.
Right.
But it seems like you're actually around the other way.
I probably did make that mistake. I apologize.
That's fine.
Yeah. So like an example would be, if I could just pose one, I would absolutely date, for example, a trans man, that had the identity, of a man. I probably maybe prefer, if it maybe sound counterintuitive, but if they were a little more feminine and didn't plan on having any kind of surgery or anything. So that's an example where like the gender doesn't necessarily play a role in whether or not I'm going to select a partner. Does that make sense?
I mean, I
Well,
guess you're
yeah,
saying that the physical aspect of that person, the sexual physical aspect, makes a difference, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like cock, well, you don't. Yeah, that's
Right. Yeah.
I have to say
Yeah.
I'd
So
find it a bit weird though, even with the absence of, as you put it, cock, the general appearance and behaviour, and that would seem strange to me, and would I'd find the gender component of that uncomfortable as a straight cis guy. That yeah, the person that I'd be dating would be someone who, to me, is also male. Maybe not once you get clothes off. There might be some aspects there that are different, but in terms of the attributes that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, that person presents as male, and therefore that would actually cause me more trouble than
Can you get
than the
this?
physical bit.
Bullshit. Hang on.
I could
Well,
understand that. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, Blarg. I mean, in that case, as cis hetero person, you would not have been attracted to that person anyway, at least not physically, right?
No, because that's right. And the first part of the sort of attraction is also about appearance, and you get that appearance thing, and the appearance is that of a guy, maybe a slightly effeminate guy because of sort of hormonal history, but it just I wouldn't be looking for a relationship in that space. It just wouldn't appeal.
Yeah, I understand. And maybe an example is where I live, it's very, very common to go on dating apps and see women, even like very feminine looking women, doing hunting, fishing, stereotypically manly activities. Guess you could say tomboy, right?
Yeah, I have no problem with that, but that's engaging in some typically male activities doesn't make someone sort of trans in their behaviour. It's the underlying sort of, it's the whole package. It's not just some of the sort of aspects.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the thing about feminine sports and all that, you only have to look at female rugby union and female Australian Aussie rules football to see that. Yeah, all women's cricket, they all are particularly violent sports, and women, especially the women in the rugby league and the rugby union and the Australian Football League, they're phenomenal athletes. They technically, I think they're better than the males. You just get more blood in the male sports. I've been to quite a few. I've been to quite a few events and parties where you have no idea what sex the people are there.
Gender.
Because people present as all different kinds of genders, and it's sometimes you got to be a little. Excuse me. Are you a man or a female? Because looking at them, and some of them have had top surgery, some have had bottom. you have you just
What do you want to be?
yeah, you just accept them the way they are, but you also and in that sort of situation, it's fine. You can ask, what are your genitals like?
Yeah, I wonder if,
It-
like,
it
let's
goes to
say
show
you're,
that appearance isn't the same as biological sex.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
but I wonder if you were, let's say, a bi person and you were attracted to who you thought was a man, but when you got physical, it turns out, just in terms of the physical sexual characteristics, they're female. I wonder if that person would, it would actually bother them or not.
I was thinking of that. Here's a question that I've asked a few times, and it creates quite a divide sometimes. Probably very contentious. I don't necessarily have an answer for it. It's just a linguistics question. But if I were, say, dating a trans man, right? Dating a trans man, and he presents, more typically feminine, doesn't have any kind of surgeries or altercations or anything like that, or gender confirming things. Would it be accurate to describe it as a homosexual relationship?
So that question actually came up. Someone was commenting on that. I don't know if it was you, but I personally, I think that's a legitimate question. Just in terms of kind of, the linguistics part, right? How you would categorize that. Ultimately, I think it doesn't matter because it's just whatever we call it, right? We're just kind of saying that if, a biological man and a biological man were, sexual, that it would be a homosexuality. And if it's, male and female, it's heterosexuality. But, that's just kind of us calling it that. But if it was a cis man and a trans man, does it? I guess it doesn't matter what you call it, but it is still kind of puzzling, right? You wonder what you should call it.
Because I mean, I remember always being told and hearing, the whole when like gender was much more talked about, that like gender and sex are completely different. And I mean, when we describe heterosexuality and homosexuality, it's supposed to be referring to the sexuality. So I don't know really, but you're right.
So-
Ultimately, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I was actually just reminded. So let me just. So Lawson, do you watch The Line?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
it's been a
good
while.
Yeah.
Good place to go over there and ask that question on the transatlantic show.
Yeah, I
Because
think that would
they're
be
the right
a good.
people to ask.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting to call them, but the reason I brought that up is because, Matt Dillahunty is, actually he may be married to Arden, and Arden is trans, and you get trolls who call into that show, and Matt has essentially just kind of taken that and owned it. So they have various different kind of I guess one-liners, but with for that, I guess the line is, "You're gay, homie." Yeah, because I guess someone was trying to insult Matt to say that he's gay because of Arden, so they just kind of own that and kind of make fun and bring up, "Hey, you're gay, homie."
Okay, thanks. I'm also happy, so who cares, right?
Yeah. YGH. I think they shorten it to like that.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, I remember the whole incident with, gosh, what's that guy's name? Andrew, whatever. What's his name? Andrew something. The debate he had with Matt. I think it was like a year ago or so.
Oh,
And he just went there to insult him.
Yeah. I know the one you're talking about. Awesome.
Yeah. I was on a
It
panel with him
hasn't-
actually, and I wasn't expecting him to come on, and I was like, "Why is this guy here?" There's no now there's no useful conversations that are going to happen. But
Wait, that wasn't a year, right? It's been less than that. It
maybe
was
I don't
on,
know.
like,
My
the
sense of
debate
time is
forum.
bad.
And that's the one where Matt just walked off, right?
Yeah, I defended him too. I don't blame him for leaving.
Yeah.
I just
But
it's the thing about bisexual males and everything is, or females. It's the thing of you can be bisexual, but only in certain situations. It's like, no, I wouldn't have sex with a man one-on-one, but put it in a group and everything's open.
mm-hmm.
You know,
The Lonely Island has a song about that.
yeah,
The Golden Rule.
yeah. But it's yeah. As you can probably tell, I've led a rather strange life. But yeah, someone's sexuality doesn't worry me. I think you have to be very insecure in yourself to be offended by how someone else yeah, I can't get it through my head.
Yeah.
There is the thing though. If you've been insulated from it, like you've got a particular view of how things work for you, and you only have your experience to call upon for how to sort of structure what you're looking at mentally, and all of a sudden you're confronted with something that's outside of your normal experiences. So you're saying your normal experiences have been quite broad. So as a result, you know, it's water off a duck's back. It just doesn't. It just rolls off because you've already had time to process and sort of establish sort of mental pathways to understand what you're looking at and how it affects you and how you should interact with it. But if you're someone who's been living in a highly religious environment where the only thing you get to hear about is how evil and horrible that is, and you never see any of it, let alone experience personally or be in the vicinity of such a thing happening, it'd be pretty damn confronting and really
Very
uncomfortable.
scary.
Yeah, you don't know how to process it.
I've watched like people who come, first timers who come to BDSM party or a swingers party or whichever, and you can actually see them shaking because they don't know, they're interested, but they have no idea. They think they're going to be forced to do and yeah, scared. I think because of the unknown is what a lot of people just automatically jump at. And yeah, there's no reason to be scared. You can be wary of it, but yeah, and I can understand it's a lot harder in a country, say like America, than it would be in Europe, the UK, Australia, even Africa. Yeah, it's just funny.
I mean,
how things, how
panic is the literal word, isn't it? It's
yes, you got it in one. Yeah, it's panic.
Yeah,
because
I mean, you know, I'm middle aged, so I grew up when homosexuality was becoming more and more accepted, and I've seen how things were in the the 80s, where people were panicking and everything gay was a slur, and how it's just basically drifted off to the point where most people don't really care. But yeah, it just reminded me of back in those days, and people were literally quaking in fear at meeting someone who happened to be, you know, a gay man or a gay woman, and it was.
I knew guys who stopped going to public toilets during the 80s.
Yes.
Goodness.
Which was incredible.
Because they're terrified someone's going to leap on them, and
What if somebody falls in my lap with their mouth open?
I wish.
You get exactly the same behaviour now with trans women in bathrooms. You know, the people going on about how they're just there for some sort of sexual gratification. You go, no, they're just there to take a shit. Just settle down. They're over in the stall there. It's not like, you know, they go in a stall and close the damn door. And anyone who thinks you're getting the jollies by listening to the person drop off the kids at the pool in the next cubicle, there's something wrong with them.
I am constantly amazed at how much this day transphobia is just recycled homophobia. All the things that I heard as a young person is against gay people is being used against trans people now. And to the point where basically I can predict what they're going to say next. And
if you go back a little bit further, it's the same arguments, many of the same sort of arguments were used when for against women's rights.
Yes.
And that's coming back to the far right across the world is trying to roll back certain groups' rights.
Well,
and,
it makes you wonder
scary.
what's next, right? After trans becomes accepted, what is the next thing that are going to be vilified?
Furries?
Well, if you listen to the rhetoric, remember, first you give the people guys the right to marry another man, and next thing what's next? Marrying animals. You get exactly that rhetoric, and you go, what's this? We've had people able to marry, homosexual marriages have been available in some countries for a very long time, and unsurprisingly, the slippery slope argument just didn't turn into a slippery slope. Ridiculous.
And they're actually finding that marriages have gone up because of that, because of not just homosexual marriage, but heterosexual marriages have also gone up. And, you know, they speculate that it's because now more people are getting married. So it kind of like normalizes it for people who may not have considered heterosexual people who may not have considered marriage. Now they do. So it's actually been good for, heterosexuality.
I'm reminded of the Robin Williams joke in that one movie where he's running for president. He said the Republicans don't want the gays to get married, but they should, because everyone knows once you get married, the sex stops.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but I did put up the debate between Matt and Andrew Wilson, I guess, and that was about 6 months ago.
Wilson, that's right.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that debate, and it was pretty much of a. Lawson, you said you were on a panel with Matt, or what?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the topic. I think it was on, gosh, what was it? Parenting or something like that. I can't remember, but he's basically a presuppositionalist. If you like prod him enough.
Oh wait, are you talking about Andrew Wilson?
Yes. Yep. That's the one.
Oh, you were on a panel with Andrew.
Yeah. Well, okay. I didn't know he was going to be on it.
Okay.
So yeah, but he showed up, and then the conversation completely derailed.
Was that on Discord, Lawson?
Yes, I think I'm trying to remember who. I think it was Wick TV, if I'm not mistaken.
I've only looked at that a little bit, yeah.
But yeah. But eventually he left because we all kind of bullied him to leave. So.
It's just like, as soon as Darth walks into comes into anything,
Yeah,
everything's-
basically.
Yeah, everything stops. Oh, I did. You know, on the throwback episodes on the AXP, they had Darth's Second Call as one of the videos.
Okay.
I think last week or something,
Oh,
which was quite
okay.
funny to hear him. No, I think it was Talk Heathen.
Okay.
Okay.
Title is Mean Atheists Won't Let Me Speak, or something like that. Because he tried to pull it in. Don't talk over me. Don't talk over me.
We're so mean.
Bloody pre-subs, they're just the worst. Like, I'd prefer just a straight up racist any day to a pre-sub. Just
Oh my
at
God.
least racists are honest.
Yes. I honestly, my brain short circuits as soon as they start their pre-sub spiel, and they won't qualify what sort of Christian they are, because it's, to me, that's the most important thing. You can be a Christian and be a good person, a moral person, but if you start to believe young earth creationism, the Bible is to be taken literally, whatever version you think is the right one, it's just, it's nonsensical. Especially from someone who, you know, for 7 years had a private tutor in theology. It's, yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy for people to, if they say, I believe in this God because, well, faith. That's
Well,
all
what
right.
would you guys say if I, like, you know, cajole one, like, you know, a pre-sub person to come on as a guest here?
It'd be lovely. I'd be up for it. And not, I think we'd have to take our, like with kid gloves,
Yeah.
find out exactly what sort of version of Bible God they're presupposing. That's the hardest thing I've found with the pre-subs, is they will not admit what their core beliefs are.
Well, I mean,
Yes,
they're
because
kind of like,
the moment you give answers is the moment you have to defend something. You can't have that. The thing is, you presuppose the answers and then force the other person to play on your turf. That's the game.
Yeah. Maybe it'd be good to get a pre-sup in, and instead of arguing about the pre-sup argument, talking about, you know, what bits of the Bible do you take as literal and what bits aren't. What's your proof for evolution or against evolution? And sort of stop them before they get into the pre-sup script.
Yeah, see, that's not going to work though, because they will then make it your job to prove everything. Remember the problem with the missing link is the moment you find the missing link, you create two missing links.
Yeah.
You can't win that argument ever. It doesn't matter how good your evidence is. They can just ignore it and say it's not convincing. Give me something else. Where's the same garbage we see from Neppy demanding that we see major change of body plan in the last 10,000 years, and you go, well, that requires that evolution occurs at a rate that it doesn't. So he's asking for something that's impossible.
I just found the Darth's call. It's Talk Heathen, mean atheists are mean Christians aren't Christians. No, that's not it.
Is it not it?
No. She who must be obeyed got the wrong one. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Forget what I just said.
That sounds like another true Christian argument, doesn't it?
Yeah, I still think it'd be fun to try and talk to a pre-sub on your channel, because we're not. Well, I don't think any of us are particularly nasty or pushy. I haven't seen that in all the shows.
I think presuppositionalists that hold like true to presuppositionalism, I think it kind of robs them of their ability to be honest, unfortunately. It makes it very hard.
Yeah, and
No,
I mean,
of course you
the
can't
only
be
thing,
honest.
the only thing worse than a Christian pre-sup is the Islamic pre-sup. Yeah.
Logical Muslim. I think you've all had some experience with them on AXP and a few other channels.
Yeah.
Well,
One thing I'd like to ask Neal, just quickly. Is the stuff about Muslims pushing Ramadan onto co-workers, is that happening in the UK a lot? Because I've seen videos of people trying to eat their lunch and they've got 6 or 7. No.
It's. I mean, you could probably find instances of idiot co-workers doing it, but you could do that for any idiot who happens to be, strongly religious.
Just I saw something in I think I've forgotten the. Anyway,
probably the Daily Mail.
No, it was. Hang on.
Then what you're engaged in is a nut-picking fallacy. Just go along and say this person behaves in this way, therefore everybody who is in their same camp behaves the same way. And you go, no, there are nut jobs in every camp.
Yeah.
So I don't know how successful are we in terms of finding pre-sub. I don't think they are on the comments too much, but we've passed the 90-minute mark by quite a bit. So Lawson, I generally try to not have these streams go too much past 90 minutes. So you're definitely welcome to join us in future calls. If you send me an email at qc@mynes.com, I can send you the links out beforehand, or reminders and whatnot, and what topics we're going to discuss. But you don't have to. Obviously, you don't have to. You could just kind of show up under live comments and ask for the link. So
sounds good.
But yep. So thank you for showing up, and I am going to close it up here. And again, thanks to everyone who showed up, and please come back for our next week's, and I will see you all in the comments.